3, 2, 1.
The city, the job, the race. To most of us, these are the elements of our urban environment. We know how to function within our society, and if we are successful at it, the rewards can be bountiful. But far away from the city's lifestyle, on a remote 20-mile stretch of beach in the Pacific, lives another formula for success. This is the North Shore of Maui. This unique group of individuals has abandoned life's traditional goals and chosen this unlikely arena to answer their life's challenge. The pot of gold at the end of their rainbow is personal satisfaction. There are no large monetary rewards for this lifestyle, just the knowledge that they are the best surf sailors in the world. It's no coincidence that the varied members of this elite group have chosen the North Shore of Maui as their home. To sail at their level of performance requires strong, steady winds and large swells. Maui's location and unique geography provide these conditions in abundance. As the trade winds approach Maui's North Shore, they are funneled through its valley. The valley acts as a venturi, increasing the velocity of the wind by several knots. Meanwhile, thousands of miles to the north, powerful low-pressure systems whip up some giant storms that send beautifully shaped swells onto Maui's North Shore. This combination of waves from the north and winds from the east provide the windsurfer with ideal conditions. The North Shore has many excellent windsurfing locations, offering varying degrees of difficulty. But its most popular windsurfing spots are Kanaha, Sprecklesville, and Hukipa. Kanaha is the easiest place to sail. A shallow reef far offshore breaks up the swell into a manageable chop. The wind doesn't come in quite as strong here, so it's a little more forgiving. But if you do get into trouble, there's plenty of sandy beaches downwind to catch you. Kanaha is close to many rental shops, so most first-time Maui sailors start here. Further up the beach is this spot called Sprecklesville, or Sprecks, as the locals call it. Sprecks has a better exposure than Kanaha, so it gets a stronger wind. Plus, the reef is closer to shore, so you'll see a little more wave action. Sprecks is a good place to try out new moves, work on your jibes, or test new equipment. With its entrance little more than a bumpy, twisting dirt road, and a small clearing in the woods for a parking lot, Sprex offers up a down-home feeling for sailing. But don't be surprised to see the likes of Fred Haywood and Company blowing your doors in when the wind's up. Further still, up the shore, is the famed Hukipa Beach. This is it, the big one. It's hard to imagine the adrenaline rush you must get flying off the lip of a wave 20 feet into the air, or sailing down the face of a wave, outrunning a wall of water as high as a 2-story house. Hukipa is not for the meek. If you aren't totally prepared for the power and the intensity of the waves here, you and your $800 custom board will be spit out onto the rocks with no mercy. For the intensity of the action going on here, Hukipa is a very unpretentious place. To the casual tourist, it's just a stop along the highway where some pretty sails are out dancing on the water. But to those in the know, it's the pinnacle of windsurfing achievement. On any given day at Hukipa, you are likely to see a handful of the world's best surf sailors. Every windsurfer's day here on Maui has a similar schedule. Whether you spent the night sleeping in a cane field, dodging the cops at Baldwin Park, or you are lucky enough to have your own house, around mid-morning, everyone comes alive. The wind never blows before 10, so there is no point in checking out the beaches before then. But, like clockwork, you see the cars loaded down with equipment coming out of nowhere looking for the day's wind. This road, Hana Highway, provided these sailors with a scenic location to stage their daily guava war. Every day is a little bit different in Maui. One day you might have good wind and no waves, and the next day giant surf and little wind. So it takes some driving around in the morning to find the spot with the best conditions. Once there, you'll usually find a group of other sailors scoping things out, trying to determine the correct board and sail size to use. rigging almost becomes a therapy. Your mind, heavy with the anticipation of getting out there, allows your hands to be free and tune the rig. It's not uncommon to see some sailors staring transfixed at the surf, studying its patterns. Oftentimes, the wind doesn't come in close to shore, making it extra difficult to get out past the nasty shore break. If you haven't planned your takeoff just right, the day can get off to a really bad start. But when you do make it out, you're in for the ride of your life. After a day of doing battle with Hukipa, a lot of sailors like to head down to Sprex for some flat water sailing. Local sailor Terry Tolman straps on the helmet camera for a quick ride. After a hard day on the water, most sailors' first stop is the Paia General Store. Though they sell the oddest assortment of useful items, it's their ice-cold drinks and homemade sandwiches that keep everyone fueled. The store's amazing bulletin board can provide you with a place to live, some used equipment, or even a job. Paia, calling itself windsurfing capital of the world, used to be a ghost town of the once giant sugarcane industry. But since the early 1980s, when the board sailors first started filling its once empty streets, Paia's become a busy little town. A sign of the times in Paia are these Maui cruisers, classic old American cars that change hands several times a year among the transient sailors. A Maui cruiser is never worth more than the board strapped onto it. There is a swap meet every few weeks in Paia, giving everybody a chance to unload their old equipment or maybe pick up something new at a good price. For many sponsored sailors, selling their old equipment is a vital form of income. Late in the day, you always see the last few souls sailing their hearts out, catching the day's last wind. This is one of the prettiest times of day in Maui. By nightfall, most sailors are too tired to do much of anything. But a fire on the beach, celebrating a friend's last night on the island, is fun enough for all. Besides having the best board sailors in the world, Maui attracts the best board and sail designers. Robert Karpovich of Paia Sails and Ed Angulo of Angulo Boards give us their views on the North Shore.
Paia Sail Company is my sail loft here on Maui. We produce custom wave sails, slalom sails, and speed trial sails for the Maui market. The North Shore of Maui is blessed with the most perfect windsurfing conditions in the world, in that the swell comes out of the north and the trade winds come out of the east. And it's become the focal point of all of the design lofts in the world, and all of the board makers and all the top sailors come here to train. Just your average recreational sailor on Maui, anywhere else in the world, would be winning contests.
Ed Angulo.
The North Shore of Maui is the proving grounds, much like the North Shore of Oahu is to surfing. This is the ultimate destination.
Once a year, in the fall, the Aloha Classic comes to Maui. This competition draws the best surf sailors in the world and supercharges the North Shore with energy. The once quiet Hukipa Beach comes alive with people, cars, and equipment. Everybody who's anybody, whether spectator or competitor, descends upon the Hukipa Beach Park for the week-long competition. You see quite an assortment of equipment representing the latest trends from custom board shapers and sail designers. Not knowing how conditions will change during the week forces each competitor to have a number of board designs and sail sizes. The competition is open to anyone who has the guts to enter. Competitors are divided into a men's, women's, and master's category. There are 4 sailors in a heat, judged on aerials, transitions, and wave riding. In the women's competition, 8 of the top finishers from the preliminaries moved on to meet the 8 pre-seeded women. Carol Aldred and Janie Hunt were both sailing very strong in the preliminaries. But as the finals began, all eyes moved to Calbiano to see if she could once again win the event. Though the conditions were not what most of the girls would have liked, they sailed their hearts out, making the most of each wave. Carla Weber, as well as Dana Dawes, showed smooth wave riding and jumping skills. But it was Lena Kerr that met the undefeated Calbiano in the finals. For the fourth year in a row, Calbi demonstrated her superior wave riding skills and sailed away with first place. A walk down the beach during the Aloha Classic is like a who's who of wave sailing. Alan Cadiz, Mick Eskimo, Pete Cabrina, Ian Boyd, Robbie Nash. With competitors of this caliber all gathered together to compete for top honors, you know there's going to be some radical sailing. The majority of the competitors are not pre-seeded, so they have to win their way up through the masses in the preliminary heats. One slip-up in the preliminaries sends you into the loser's bracket, making it even tougher to win your way out. Most sailors have one discipline which they excel at, be it wave riding, transitions, or aerials. But the true champion, the one that's going on to win the competition, excels equally in all areas and is able to refine their performance to meet any sailing conditions. Here's Robbie Nash showing his unique transition in a light wind situation. And Mark Angulo proving his versatility. Sailing in a competition of this caliber requires each competitor to push themselves a little bit further and sail a little bit harder. They must find that fine line between victory and disaster. True champions consistently redefine that line, sailing right on the cutting edge and once in a while going over it. As the competition progressed, it became clear who the contenders would be. The names were all familiar. Rush Randall, Dave Wetter, Mick Eskimo. Mark Angulo seemed unbeatable. Pete Gabrina and Ian Boyd both sailed tremendously into the finals, with Ian sending Robbie Nash into the losers bracket. Everyone couldn't help but wonder if this was going to be the year Robbie would lose the Aloha Classic. In the finals of the competition, it was a matchup between the young Turk, Mark Angulo, and the seasoned veteran, Robbie Nash. Robbie had been sailing hot all day, working his way up through the losers bracket, while Mark sat on the beach waiting for his turn. After the second heat, there was no questions in anybody's mind that Robbie, showing his poised and champion form, was once again the winner of the Aloha Classic. Most of us will never compete in the Aloha Classic, but that doesn't mean we don't experience a similar level of excitement in our own sailing. There are times in Maui when all the elements come together. No matter how good a sailor you are, you become a part of that magical syncopation of the wind, the waves, and the sun. This is the North Shore.